the vampire, one of horror's most original and iconic creatures, being feared in their world for their mix of charm and brutality.
But when you need someone to kill a vampire, sometimes the best for the job is their own kind.
Like Alucard, England's most dangerous vampire killer.
And D, the ever-wandering vampire hunter.
Now before we get into this fight, we need to set some ground rules. See, D has many interpretations in his creations, and for this fight we're going to confuse certain ones. Mainly following the manga and the anime. Films with the novels only be used for supporting evidence if needed to further prove a valid scalable feat.
Now that that's out of the way, he's Demon and I'm Archer.
And it's our job to analyze these characters to their fullest, going through their feats and faults to see what happens when these two fictional characters collide. Most of us know the story of Vlad the Impaler, yes? Well, what if I said y'all forgot the part of the story, the part where, you know, he drinks demon blood and becomes a goddamn gunslinging hellspawn working for British people.
Alright, let's dial it back a bit. Welcome to London, a place of beauty, royalty, and the occasional Nazi vampire. They're like Nazi zombies, but a lot more dangerous, you could say. To counteract these creatures, the Hellsing organization decided that the only way to fight vampires that they would need their natural enemy, that being themselves.
And who is this vampire that hunts his own kind, you may ask? Well, the Hellsing organization clearly gave him the name Alucard, which in reality is Dracula spelled backwards because creativity is so dry almost every vampire who kills vampires seems to have something close to it. But yeah, this is Alucard's story.
I'm a dog, then you're dog food.
Never mind, this guy's a fucking horrifyingly badass.
But he doesn't just let his looks pull him through everything. He is wielding two very special guns at his side, the first one being known as Casul, which is a small machine hand pistol, boasting custom-made explosive .454 Casul rounds, which are devastating to the enemy it's aimed on.
In a much bigger handgun, the Jackal is the same type of gun with similar rounds, but those bullets are coated with anti-healing church bullets. Kinda bad for most of the undead fuckers the guy has murdered during the thousands of years of slaughter. Considering that his aim is so good he can snipe your undead ass from 1 kilometer away, you get the point.
But that's not all. He can also turn into bats, mind control you, phase through solid objects, shapeshift, make you scared of him just by looking at him, can even use telekinesis. Like the time he uses telekinesis to move not only a ship, but also a whole sea of blood. Given the weight of the blood and how much of it there was, that must have required over 6.56 kilotons of TNT.
Don't forget about his other weapons he's got. He carries a sword, a drum gun, a walking coffin. Why would anyone need that?
That's actually Alucard's own coffin. As to why it walks around, yeah, I've got nothing.
Well, anyways, like any good anime protagonist, he has multiple forms, or as he calls them, levels. These levels are used to, well, murder the undead. Levels 6 through 2 are used for your everyday standard bad guys, no big deal. Alucard must be a dog lover like me, cause in level 1 he gets a doggy called Baskerville. Ah, what a good dog.
Right. Well, there's one more level he can access. At any point, if Alucard is feeling lonely or wishes to stain the stars in red, he can access his most dangerous and powerful form.
0.
Yeah, level 0 is no joke. In level 0, he gains a zombie army of all the souls he consumed. And just how many souls has he taken? Not much, only about 3.
Really? Huh, that's not that bad actually.
1,434,860 souls.
Yep, there it is, that makes more sense.
But Archer, we ain't seen why Alucard is so legendary. It's because no matter how hard you try, you can't kill him, because of his overpowered regeneration. See, his regeneration works by using those 3 million souls in his body to heal. So every time you say, chop the head off, or tear him to ribbons, or just shoot him so much he looks like Swiss cheese at the end, he uses a soul to regenerate from it. Meaning theoretically, you could kill him fully. But good fucking luck doing that.
Yeah, if you name it, he's probably come back from it before.
Blown his brains, came back from it. Took a nosedive fighter jet, come right back from it. Being turned into nothing, easy. By realizing his life has no meaning, so he makes mediocre YouTube videos waiting to die, he came back from that.
I don't think he did that last one.
Shut up.
While yes, his regeneration is his greatest weapon, it's also his greatest weakness. It makes the dude super cocky, how he doesn't even dodge attacks that are thrown at him since he'll just come back from it all, which is especially bad because in level 0 he throws out all his souls for said army. So one good stab through the heart or decapitation will put this vampire to rest yet again.
But like hell is that gonna stop Alucard from kicking ass and taking names? While he may not have extremely impressive feats of speed, he certainly isn't slow. He dodged machine gun fire and even caught a special bullet in his mouth when he was flying a Blackbird at Mach 3. He killed several dangerous foes like Alexander Anderson, Zoran, Luke Valentine, and Rip Van Winkle.
What?
I'm so sorry, but the name Rip Van Winkle isn't a name that I can say with a straight face, man. Like, we see some stupid ass names on this show, but I like to award Rip Van Winkle for the stupidest name I've said out loud.
I mean, hey, he killed her via shanking her with a Blackbird. Given the size of the explosion and how fast a Blackbird moves, that would come out to be around 24.47 tons of TNT. So that's pretty cool.
True, but man, all those Nazi vampires must be shaking their boots at this guy.
In fact, they were so scared that they only had one way of getting rid of Alucard, which was rather simple. Have Alucard absorb the soul of Schrödinger, who's Krona but a cat, because no one knows what gender they are. Actually, the concept behind Schrödinger is rather interesting. See, the German philosopher...
Anyway, ow!
Even I wasn't finished yet.
I know, I was saving the audience from going to sleep.
Oh, excuse me. Apparently, calculating and seeing what fictional characters can beat the crap out of another isn't boring at all, but explaining a philosophical thought? No, that's drawing the line.
Yep, because I get to do stuff like this. Level 1.
Level what? Ah!
I love my job.
Ow. Anyways, the Nazi vampire's plan worked, and Alucard vanished into thin air because he had way too many souls inside of him, and Schrödinger couldn't identify what they were.
Well, much like the legend of Dracula himself, Alucard returned after 30 years of soul killing and tried to get rid of that cat femboy.
So if you abandon your humanity and make the world around you a living hell, watch out, as the Vampire King will make sure the depths of hell welcome you in a warm embrace.
Yes, excellent. I haven't had this much fun in ages. What did you say your name was?
Now the year was 12,098, thousands of years after the sacred ancestor had caused the nuclear war. During this event, creatures have learned to mix the power of magic with the unlimited potential of science. The age of vampire has begun.
And, well, being the head honchos in a world of demons, ghouls, cyborgs, and even aliens, must mean the vampires here mean business with how they run the world. Makes you wonder what would happen if Castlevania's own Dracula would do if he had a nuke for the Belmonts. But that was until a certain figure in black on a horse came walking down the hill. A being full of righteousness with a single goal to right the wrongs the Sacred One has caused. A lone vampire hunter known as... D.
Here they come.
Wow, this guy. He's extremely handsome.
Well, I, for one, don't know how to respond to that, but you know what, hey, I don't judge. And two, yeah, D has that effect on people when he isn't murdering every vampire that causes issues in the world. Which, to note, he has a lot of things he can use to take them out, starting with his trusty longsword he keeps on him at all times, good for decapitating or impaling. He even uses it for most fights to quickly take out foes when needed to be quick.
But his second most iconic ability is his left hand. See, his hand is alive that can read minds, force you to say the truth, deduce certain elements, and even bring back D from the dead if he can. Hell, it can move on its own when it was cut off from D's body, which happened in the manga, and he put himself back onto D after eating a few pieces of the earth and removed the stake from D's heart.
Alongside it, it can activate a vortex to basically suck up anything it needs. Bugs? Check. Ghosts? Check. Armies? Yeah, this hand can do all of that. But stuff like major amounts of poison does mean it has to be careful what it consumes and how much of it.
Man, if we had a nickel for every time this season we had someone with an OP talking hand that can aid them in battle, I'll have 2 nickels. I mean, it's not a lot, but we didn't have it twice, no?
Agreed. Now time for D's most strongest asset, his large array of powers and abilities. You see, D is what we like to call a walking hacks and power machine, so big that only a few in fiction can match the level of absurdity he has.
Almost as if D is the strongest being in the world. Wait, being the strongest vampire in the world? Oh my Gaia, does that mean that D in his name stands for Jurak?
Dampier.
What the hell is a Dampier?
Basically, he's half vampire and human. His father is most likely agreed to be Drac, although based on his age and when the sacred ancestor was around before causing the nuclear war.
Was close enough, so I still called it. Anyway, with his abilities, he has enhanced senses all around, can manipulate how someone sleeps, control the heat around people, can regenerate, negate regeneration of others, he has telepathy, he can easily know the atomic structure of objects, he can paralyze, make someone fear him easily, knows someone's aura, and he can copy techniques with a simple glance.
Besides all that, he can resurrect himself, read minds, force people to say the truth, can control electricity, resist being put to sleep, his sword has existence-erasing resistance, can manipulate someone else's pain, biology, and mind at the same time, and so much more. Look at all these.
Yeah, we thought Travis was stupid. He makes him look like child's play. Wait a minute, he's not here, right? Okay, good. And that's nothing else compared to some of his feats. The dude has dodged bullet, point-blank lightning at some point, and even just to flex, he threw an arrow so fast it caught on literal fire.
And he's been fighting for over 10,000 years. He's a master vampire killer, like, that's literally his profession. He's able to deduce how to handle enemies in a matter of seconds, and he's also so strong he's scaled Dr. Croddock, who punched this crab who made earthquakes that can be felt from miles away. Such a feat would need around 18 tons of force, but that's nothing compared to this.
Okay, so from the more tame side of the novels, he basically shaved off an entire mountain, only making them a field. So based on what the women said, 3 of the mountains are 12,000 feet tall, 7 of them are 10,000 feet tall, and the mountain with the name Mount North Lake was said to be 15,000 feet tall. And D laid flat to all of these mountains in a matter of 2 seconds. So when we put pulverization, since it's confirmed all the mountains became flat with this swing, D just made over 12.7 megatons of TNT. Enough to destroy a mountain.
Sometimes even the most powerful have flaws. He's weak to the sun, is slowed down by 30% in the rain, is weak to holy weapons to an extent, and for some reason, roses and all the other stuff vampires are weak to. Heck, in the manga he originally died by having a stake through the heart. But lastly, his biggest weakness. The dude's just one of the nicest people in the world. Sometimes when he shouldn't just let people go, which did lead to his first death.
Good thing he cut off that guy's hand and then killed him when he begged for mercy the second time. Kinda shot yourself in the foot there, buddy. The guy is also so thoughtful for others in the manga after he found love, he left them because he knew being around them will just cause them more trouble. He had to sacrifice his own happiness for the safety of her and her younger brother. But hey, in a world full of moving towns with no destinations, people stuck in sleeping time loops, awful monsters, vampires, and slave trades, it's nice to know one guy at least is trying to make the world a better place. You know what, Archer? Maybe not all vampires are so bad after all.
Demon, that's kinda sweet coming from you.
Don't get used to it.
Listen, Meyer, the woman says she wants to go back home.
I don't believe it.
Alright, the combatants are set. Let's finish this.
Will D make the no-life king live no more? Or will Alucard make the vampire hunter the hunted?
Time for these 2 fictional characters to collide.
くだらんな。大概にしとけ。の餌だ。楽しい。
Oh, sweet Jesus, that's both cold-blooded and badass! While on paper, this fight seemed rather close, but when you get into the nitty-gritty, that's when the scales tip to D's favor.
When it came down to raw stats, Alucard and D were nearly identical. When it came to speed, both were capable of dodging bullets, but in terms of raw power, D annihilated Alucard. Comparing 24.47 tons of TNT to 12.70 megatons of TNT simply mopped the floor with Al.
To put that into perspective, a single megaton is worth about 1 million tons of TNT, making D literally millions of times more powerful than Alucard. And even with the 7 kiloton blood river, would it be enough to match it? Also, when it came to abilities, D just had a load of ways dealing with Alucard. Such as fire, knowing Alucard's entire atomic makeup, paralyzing Alucard, or straight up copying Alucard's abilities.
However, his two saving graces were that D can negate Alucard's regeneration and his Vortex Hand. With it, D had solid ways of putting down Alucard, whilst Alucard's options of killing D were extremely limited.
And if he couldn't do that, he can grab Alucard's head and force the truth behind his powers with his hand spilling out everything he needs to know. His hand has a thing for that and other things. Overall, this fight would be a huge uphill struggle for Alucard, especially since Alucard isn't used to long, drawn-out fights. When you look at both the anime and manga, Alucard usually ends a fight in a few seconds. Plus, Alucard would be making things a whole lot easier for D via activating level 0, since Alucard loses all of his souls, aka his extra lives.
And with D's whole mountain vaporization feat, it would be very easy for him to annihilate that army in a single sword swing. Plus, when D realized Alucard is a vampire, it was much less a battle and more of a puzzle for D to solve, which is how he kills vampires in his own series. The guy has been killing vampires for thousands of years. It's literally what he's known for. But now it's time to discuss the German cat fanboy in the room. Frickin' Schrödinger.
Now, if you get Al Schrödinger, which for one is a bit dubious since he's only had it for a few seconds and that if you give it to him, he wouldn't have his standard arsenal. Schrödinger doesn't make Alucard any stronger, just makes him nearly unkillable. Emphasis on nearly.
Yeah, quantum physics are weird like that. With Schrödinger, it doesn't really change the battle's outcome whatsoever. At worst, it would be a draw. And if we gave Alucard Schrödinger, we could always give D his tunes from the novels. While Schrödinger may be strong, he ain't surviving the erased on a conceptual level. Yeah, we didn't give D these tunes in the analysis, but for the sake of argument, if we fully went with the idea of Schrödinger Alucard, it would only be fair to give D this item. Also, in the novels, he's a section of D killing an elder god who's also omnipotent, so, oh well.
Alucard might have been the vampire king, but he lacked the stats and abilities to put the son of Dracula for good. So while Alucard had the time of his life that would have made his blood rise, he didn't have the heart to sink his teeth into victory.
We've been gone for nearly half a year, and this is what you come back with?
Yep. Wait a minute. If Alucard is Dracula, does that mean he's D's?
The winner is D, the vampire hunter.
Next time on Fictional Characters Collide.